Algorand's price has not been so great lately. But is that the only thing we should care about? I'm going to explain why that shouldn't be the most important thing on today's Frugal BC. What is up, guys? Frugal BC coming at you. Obviously, things aren't great for Algorand Price right now. It's been down in the 30 cents range, 30 to 35 cents, kind of fluctuating on that. We're going to take a look at those price charts today, but also talk about why I think utility is more important than price. So we're going to do that. We're going to get all into that today, but if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button first and subscribe to the channel, please, because we want to show this to more people. I want to make sure you get all our videos. We do the experiments. We tell you how it goes, what's the good, the bad, the ugly. And I'm going to talk about some of these things today as I go through various projects and reasons that you should care more about the utility than the Algorand price. But first off, let's know what the price is and what it's been doing for a while. So let's look at the charts. Okay, so as I'm recording this video, here's where Algorand's price sits. It is at 33.5 cents thereabouts. That is down 4.8% on the day. So that might lead you to be a little bummed out. Fair enough. Here's the chart. Let's go back to, so today definitely down. How about over the week? It's actually up on the week. It was it actually got as low as 30 cents before popping up to nearly 36 at one point. And it's also up on the month, which is really interesting. It had been around 31 cents a month ago. 3 months, not so good. We're down. We were at 3 months ago, we were at 67 cents, as high as 80 cents. So yeah, we're going down. And of course, on the year, we are down. What about all time? This is really interesting because we're close to all-time lows, but not really. We've been as low as 13 cents. And I bought a lot in this, actually probably in this range when it was in the 20 cents. I bought on Coinbase because they had an earn program paying 5%. That seemed pretty good to me. I thought it was cool to have crypto that was actually earning percentage on top of the price action, which is kind of why I got in the Algorand in the first place. Which is funny because then only recently did I get into doing all the fun DeFi projects. But as you can see, which is really interesting here, how Algorand, when it first launched, was over $2. Very curious about what that was like. I wasn't paying attention to Algorand back then. It wasn't until later in 2019, coming into 2020. I'm trying to think when I probably bought some around this 30 cents range too, but it's hard to remember exactly when. And Coinbase doesn't make it the easiest to comb through your transactions. It's kind of a big pain in the butt. So that's fun, but let's talk about why maybe price isn't so important. A lot of people say things like you should care about utility over price, right? And I think that's really important when we talk about Algorand, because the reason I'm so bullish on Algorand, the reason I like it so much, is because it's fast, it's really inexpensive to make transactions, and a lot of the projects are really easy to use. So my whole thing with this channel is I try stuff out. I do the experiment. And I actually tell you how it goes, right? And the reason this has become so much about Algorand is just because all the stuff seems to work. And when I try stuff on other blockchains, there's always some catch that people don't tell you about, the people on YouTube don't tell you about. And I tell you about those catches, whether it's Algorand or whatever. We tried out Cardano's Sunday swap was a total disaster. Cake DeFi I was kind of into, and I'm like actually just pulled my Bitcoin out of it because I don't want to stuff on exchanges, which is one of the things we'll talk about in a minute. But so what I want to do I want to talk about 3 things that you can do right now with Algorand. You can do them today. You don't have to wait. This isn't stuff that's coming up in the future. These are real projects that you can do with your Algorand, and that Algorand gives you access to that you might not have otherwise. One of my favorite ones is real estate. So as an investor, I've had traditional investments as well as cryptocurrency investments. In fact, my traditional investments are far greater than my crypto investments. And one of the things I've been wanting to get into is real estate, but it's really expensive. And even in my area where properties can be had fairly inexpensively compared to other places. I mean, I own my own house, but actually buying a rental property would be a significant investment, and it's pretty risky in the sense of your time. So if you own a rental property, if the heat goes out at 3 in the morning, you have to get up and deal with it, or you're just not going to have tenants very long, and might have some lawsuits on your hands. You can also have really bad tenants. You can have bad tenants that there are tenants who basically scam the system. They show up at a property, they have no intention of paying. In a lot of states, they have very generous protections for tenants, which they should have, except when people abuse it, then it makes it really easy for them to abuse. I've had friends that have had that happen to them. So, and of course, like I said, there's a huge barrier to entry in terms of cost. So one of my favorite projects is Lofty AI, which allows you to buy real estate in $50 increments. And these are real properties, but you're buying a tokenized investment in, and then you get real rent from these properties. So you basically own it's like owning a small share of each property. So people say, well, why don't you just do an REIT, which is like an index fund for real estate? And what I like about this is it's kind of a nice middle ground between the two. You don't have to put this huge amount of investment into an actual building that you have to try to maintain or pay somebody to maintain. But also you have some choice in what properties you buy. So that's pretty cool too. I like that. And you can buy and sell the tokens. So you're not relying on like a manager to manage the assets. And $50, that's a pretty low barrier cost to entry, a low cost barrier to entry, excuse me. So I'm pretty happy with some downsides. Sometimes as things come up, like we've had some issues with tenants lately. Interestingly enough, there's been about 3 or 4 evictions now on properties that I own. And what they do, a lot of times what they do, it's really interesting. You have a vote where you can choose to, just hope they pay or start eviction process, or you can just like pay them to leave. And interestingly enough, everybody's been voting for the pay them to leave option. So you basically pay them, you say, here's $1,000 if you leave tomorrow, and they leave, and they have some money to get another place, and and then the managers can re-rent out the property. So there is a little management involved, but it's like it's a matter of just voting. So that's pretty cool. I'm trying to think any other downside. You can't right now. You have to sell the tokens back to them. In September, the actual secondary market is supposed to pop up, because your tokens actually gain or depreciate, appreciate or depreciate in I shouldn't say real time, but they do appreciate as the price of the property goes up or down. Mostly it's been going up. The tokens actually change in price too, so you could make money that way as well. It also means the secondary ones are probably going to be more expensive right now because properties have been going up. So that's a potential downside as well. Now, my second method in order to use Algorand right now is, and I just did a video on this. I have videos on all these, by the way. Is this a good way to store your other cryptocurrencies? So there's a lot of P tokens for other cryptocurrencies that are on Tinyman, such as Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think there's other ones coming as well. And I detailed the method by which you can take your Bitcoin, basically convert it to Algorand to send to your wallet, and then purchase the Algorand version of the asset in your wallet, on Tinyman, and then you have it in your wallet, and it's stored there. You don't have to worry about these exchanges. Now, why am I interested in this? Well, I had some money on Celsius, and that money is most likely gone, or maybe I'll get a small portion of that back. So not really happy about that Bitcoin that I built up disappearing. So the Bitcoin that I didn't have on Celsius, I have moved to Algorand, and I'm going to be moving as many assets over there as possible. There's a phrase, not your keys, not your crypto. And I'm going to say your keys, your crypto, because we're going to keep it positive. And so keep an eye on that. If you want to see how to do that, you can watch my video. There is an alternative method that I might do but it involves using a number of exchanges to save a little bit in fees. I'd rather just pay the fees. I actually detail 2 methods, by the way. One is kind of doing it yourself. One is using Algo Mint. Either is legit. I just like I didn't want to do yet another KYC operation, so I'm like, I'll just do it the back channel way. And then the third option is gaming. So gaming is kind of a new realm in Algorand. There are some games out now like Alchemon, and you can earn on your Alchemon NFTs as well as just simply play the game. They just released an update and I'm having trouble downloading it, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. I was thinking about doing a video on that today, but Cosmic Champs is going to be releasing its beta soon. I am very excited about it, but I'm also, as you know, I'm always skeptical until these projects actually launch and you can play them and use them. And even then, I'm always going to have an eye for skepticism without being cynical. That's really the key, I think. The Cosmic Champs, I think, holds a lot of promise because you will not need to have an Algorand wallet or any cryptocurrencies to play. So anyone will be able to download the game and play, meaning it's being intended to be an actual fun game, which I like. Too many of these blockchain games are built around the earn aspect and are maybe kind of fun to play, maybe. Townstar, I was playing Townstar and they just removed the earn function, and I realized I wasn't having enough fun to play it to actually turn it on, so I just haven't turned it on. I just tried out this weekend. I tried out Arcadian Wanderers, which is a JRPG, Japanese RPG, Super NES style game based around the Arcadian Tales game, which is right now a Discord game. I'm not a big fan of Discord games. There are a lot of Discord games in the Algorand space. To me, that's not really a game, but it is what it is. It's usually a good way for these companies to start a game and then hopefully they relaunch it somewhere else. Alchemon was a good example of that. It started out as a Discord game. I bought the bullet and or bit the bullet, excuse me, and tried it out, and it turned out to be really fun. And a good source for this, by the way, is Algo Gaming Guild. So if you Google that, you will find them. They do like kind of a weekly update on all the games that they're tracking. It's pretty cool. And now FIFA had partnered with Algorand, so that should yield some pretty interesting results. I did a search today. I did a little poking around just to see if I could find anything about it, and been pretty quiet since announcing the partnership. It was in one article they kind of mentioned that there's been a lot of meetings between Algorand and FIFA, and that's great. But until we really see anything, I'm kind of putting that on. Well, it'll be cool if it happens, right? So, I'm hoping these three things are some good examples of ways that you can use Algorand now, because I think it's more important. I think the utility is more important than the price. The price will go up and down, just like all the coins. Solana's pretty far down, ADA's pretty far down. They're all pretty far down from their all-time highs, and that's just the reality of the bear market. You'll probably see Algorand go up, just like you'll see all the other ones up. Basically, when Bitcoin moves, and Bitcoin will move up when the stock market does. We haven't really seen a strong decoupling there yet. So that's it for this week. If you guys have any questions, I shouldn't say that. I'll probably have another one this week, but that's it for today's episode. If you guys have any questions or comments, other uses for utility, there's a lot of stuff I probably haven't covered, but these are just three examples. So if you have other ones, leave them in the comments below. Guys, stay safe out there. Hold on to your crypto. Don't do anything rash. And as always, I'll see you in the future.